Hi, everybody. This is Kathy L. Murphy, and I'm reporting from my little cabin in the woods called Murphy's Law here at Holly Lake Ranch, Texas. And I've got Mandy Haynes here, our executive director, who is hard at work for all of you, getting everything going with our all the updates and things we're doing with our International Pulpwood Queens and Timber Guys book club. And we have Wendy Carter here that did the wonderful book with Richard Schwartz that was recently featured at our Girlfriend Weekend, Pearl Mansion, Pearl, am I getting it right?
River Mansion.
Pearl River Mansion. I left a word out. Pearl River Mansion. And so we're very excited that Wendy's here. And I know Robert Gwaltney's coming on board. He was having a little bit of a video error, but we welcome you to the book club meeting. We meet every Tuesday, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. Here comes Robert. Let's hope that everything works for him now on his other computer. But we meet every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. And we have a special circumstance for the book club tonight. Yay! It worked. Thank you, Robert. You got it going. Our author, which is our bonus book club author, is Janet Skeslein Charles. She lives in Paris, France. And if she had come on board for this meeting live tonight, it would have been 3 o'clock in the morning for her. So we pre-recorded the interview. You guys are going to love it. It's already up on YouTube. So when we end this meeting, you can go and watch it. And she'll be on the Breathless Bubbles and Books post tomorrow. She keeps checking in on it because she's on the host all this week. So if you have any burning questions for her, but I've got some exciting news to share about her. But first, we're going to talk about what we did just right before this meeting, Mandy. Mandy and I had a Zoom meeting with Sherry Stones, who is the owner of Main Street Reads in Summerville, South Carolina, which is really kind of just right there at Charleston. And she has provided an online book club for us. And she's actually been doing this for some time, but she has created a virtual store. And if you go to Main Street Reads, and we're going to have Mandy's going to explain all this to you, you can click on it and you can order any of our books for the year. They're going to have the autographed book plates, or the ones that are highlighted. And if you're not highlighted, she needs book plates. So we need to get those to her. And if you make an order, you get a 10% discount. And if you order 3 or more books, you get free shipping. Now, we encourage you to order from your favorite online bookseller, but we really like to celebrate our independence by supporting Sherry, who's a Pulpwood Queen, who runs a chapter there in her store and is just such an advocate for us. So, Mandy, go ahead.
If you make me an administrator, I can put the information in the chat.
Let's do that, shall we? I've learned how to do that. I am learning all kinds of new technology, y'all, and it is so exciting. Okay, you're a co-host now. So
all right.
Put that in there. She's creating a banner for us that is going to be up on the pulpwoodqueens.com website. All you have to do is click on it. They're all listed. You just check which ones you want. Fill in your information, hit send, and she calls you to get your credit card information. So there's no credit card stored or anything like that. She's considered your personal shopper. So, and then anything else you want to share about that? Mandy?
About
Sherry, is there anything else we need to tell people?
I think you covered it all.
I'm going to do a post on this tomorrow morning and just remind people that if you need the books, I just ordered all these books from her, and they weren't even, some of them weren't even Pulpwood Queen books, but they're going to be 2022 Pulpwood Queen books, like some other people that I know that might be on this panel. But I just ordered, Gary Paulson is one of my friends. When I was back a children's bookseller, I read everything Gary Paulson ever wrote. His books are very much crossover. They're the best books to get boys reading that were ever written. If you can't get a boy to read, if you'll just read them the first opening chapter of Hatchet, you got a reader, because he is the most amazing author. And he's got a new book called Gone to the Woods, Surviving a Lost Childhood. He had a horrific childhood. His parents were parents that didn't parent. His father was in the military and his mother was just somewhere else. But he's a 3-time Newbery Honor winning author. And the books are geared, they're crossover books. Check out the tail. That's Fig running back and forth behind me, my new kitten. So anyway, I got a whole box of books. If you want to order other books besides the ones that are listed, you can put in the search box them, and you can also send her or call her and say, listen, if all the books aren't, send them in 3 or more in boxes so that I get the free shipping. You can call her at any time, which I think is amazing, because we all, as many books as I bought, I love to get a discount and I love to get that personal service. So support your independent, support Main Street Reads. So tonight, our author is Janet Skeslein Charles, who wrote The Paris Library. It launched today, so this is our book launch party. And I was trying to look, so Parisian, and it gets a little chilly in the evenings around the Eiffel Tower. So I put on my leather jacket so I look so internationally cool. But The Paris Library is a wonderful book. I found out from her, when you watch the video, a lot of her backstory of growing up in Montana. She's married to a French man who is a train conductor. Fascinating story. But I just found out this book has been sold to 27 foreign countries.
Wow.
This is big time, you all. And I said, you know what? This is a sensation, because that means every library in the world is going to carry your book. And I love the back, because, I don't know about you, but when I got my first library card, it wasn't quite that fancy. It was a little bit more manila here, but I can remember writing my name, Kathy Louise Murphy, in my little 3rd grade, 4th grade cursive, where you're trying to do everything loopy. And I think they still have the original library cards in my hometown. That would be really cool to have, wouldn't it? I'll have to check next time I'm home. But we talk all about her book. She gave even more insight than she did at Girlfriend Weekend about her book. And she also, we came up with a couple of really great ideas I'm going to share with you. She asked me if I would write her an essay on, I mentioned to her these librarians who were so important in my life. And she goes, I'm kind of impressed that you remember their names. She said, I would love for you to share an essay with me about those librarians. And I said, well, I wrote about my childhood one in my first book, The Pulpwood Queen's Terror-Wearing Book Sharing Guide to Life. And in my new book coming up, I'm going to be writing about the art historian librarian we had at the University of Texas. She was a young woman, but she was brilliant. And I cannot thank her enough for, is that a cat?
She was.
Is that yours, Wendy? Oh my goodness, I thought mine were noisy. You know what? This reminds me, we're going to have to talk about what's happening Saturday, because we've got some really exciting news. And I'm so glad you're here, Robert, because this involves you. But first, she asked me to write an essay. And then as she was telling me some more of the things about her and her participating in book clubs that were meeting at the Paris Library, I said, wouldn't it be cool? I'm thinking off the cuff here, but wouldn't it be cool if your book club at the library, we could have a Zoom meeting with our book club and we could share what each other is reading. Maybe we learn a little French and maybe they'd learn a little English. And because, of her connection, we have a translator. So we're going to work on that maybe once a month, and so we're going to go international, you all. So I'm really excited about it. And because this is her book launch, I told her that I broke out my breathless wine because I said I would love to have a bottle, but I know you've got good wine in Paris because you've got all the wonderful champagnes and vineyards and things there. And the other wonderful thing is she told on her post for tonight for all of you, she gave some cool places to go. And I don't want to give everything away about what she had to say, but it's just going to make you want to love her and read her book even more. So we've got that going on. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is on my little calendar here, we have some pretty exciting events coming up. Okay, so today I had 4 Zoom meetings, believe it or not. Mandy, were you on all of them?
3.
3 of them. Wow. Oh, you weren't on the one with me and Janet. But we
Right.
had 4 Zoom meetings today. I've changed more clothes than cheer. So, but we've got coming up, this week is Janet, Skeslein, Charles on Breathless Bubbles and Books. And next week, as far as I can tell you, just so you'll know, Mary Deese Hampton, who is the actress whose husband, the film director, wrote What and Give Up Show Business. So she'll be next week, and she'll also be featured on our online book club. But I'm going to go back to Saturday morning. Saturday morning, it's Valentine's weekend at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. We are kicking off our Writers Club with the one and only Robert Gwaltney, who has a book that I'm reading now, the manuscript, The Cicada Tree. And if you have not read his latest blog post, I highly recommend it. What is it? And put it in the chat if you can, how they get to your blog post. But it involves it. Well, you know, I really don't want to give anything away, but it's one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. I just thought it was just the most fascinating writing ever. I think I subscribe so I can get all of your blogs. And, but Robert is in a writer's critique group. And, you know, in all the years that I've been writing, I've never done that. But I have so many author friends that do that I'm going to bring them sporadically in and out throughout the year. But Robert's going to kick off with his Atlanta writers group. And can you tell us a little bit about who's going to be joining us for the writers panel on Saturday? And that'll be at 11 o'clock your time, right?
Absolutely. Right.
Okay.
So there are 4 of us. Our facilitator is a writer named Jeff Blocker, and he can do just about anything. Screenplays, short stories, novels. He is so prolific. He's not had a novel published yet, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed with his latest one that he's revising. It's it's a novel called Cherry Blossom. And there we have a writer, Mickey Dubrow, who had a novel that came out about a year or so ago titled American Judas, which is a really fun speculative read. And we have a poet in our group and an essayist and a blogger. Her name is Marissa McNamara. And she teaches college here in Atlanta. So we have an awesome group of people, all of us with very diverse voices. We've known each other for quite a while now, and it's been a very positive experience for us.
Well, Robert, you can tell all of them that we would love to read their work. Mandy and my address are up on the Pulpwood Queen's book website under book club selections. So if they would like to send us anything to read, I would have loved to have gotten something. I love the fur babies. I would love to have gotten something to read, but it just makes me, I'm reading yours. So I'm hoping to have it done before Saturday. Now, we're going to kick off with that, and we're really excited about it. But we've also, because we've had so many animals jumping in and out of our screenshots from our Pulpwood Queen meetings, whether it's a cat, a dog, or a turtle, we're going to have that afternoon of Valentine weekend at 2 o'clock Central Standard Time. We are going to have our Fur Baby Love Fest. And we want everybody that's a book club member, everybody that's an author, to come on board with their pet, and everybody will get a turn to try to introduce. I may have to show some photos because I shared some today when I was having the, the shootout at OK Corral here, where I had my older cat and my new kitten. I don't know what they were doing, but I didn't know whether it was going to be a cat fight, and it was just play. They were just playing. But it's going to be hard to get them to hold still, to get any of them on camera. So I'll probably be showing some pictures, but we're going to be doing that on Saturday afternoon. And we hope that you all have a wonderful, big book fest, love fest with our books. And don't forget, Vince Spinato's book, My Pursuit of Beauty, is boxed right now with Breathless Wine. But you can always go to Sherry's store and order the books and just order the wine too. They just reopened, California let them reopen the tasting room, which means the gift shop. So and if you ever have any trouble getting things ordered, just go to breathlesswines.com and call them, because we had a few glitches with some of the things. If you tell them you're a Pulpwood Queen, you're probably going to get a discount. They love us, and we're thrilled to have this award-winning wine. So a great way to celebrate reading and our love of reading with a great glass of wine. And then I don't know what everybody else is doing on Valentine's Day, but I've been getting ready for a big gallery show. I had the most serendipitous thing happen. Robert bought one of my paintings, which he just posted a photo that is it's just lovely. I just am kind of blown away. But while I was in the store to pick up the painting to get ready to pack it up and ship it, I hear two people come in, and this gentleman was talking to Stephanie Chance, who owns the Decorate Ornate. And I hear this guy say, well, this is my friend Nisha, and she told me if I want to meet the best artist in this area to come to Decorate Ornate, because this is where she makes all the connections. She goes, well, it just so happens that one of my artists is here now, Kathy L. Murphy. And so she said, Kathy. And I went to the front of the store, and the gentleman's name was Leonardo Lemoreau, and he's from New York and has had a gallery in San Francisco, but originally was from Tyler, Texas, and moved back home and rented a gallery on the square in downtown Tyler. And he said, I'd love to see your work. So I took him. There's two buildings at Decorate Ornate. One is filled with all of her European treasure gift items, and then the second building is filled with all the doors from Europe, from Italy and beyond. I mean, museum quality balconies, stained glass. It's lovely. So when I was in college, Stephanie offered that space in there to put my art. So I've been keeping it in there and doing shows with her for a long time. And I just recently taken in a new show called Nature's Reflection, and I was getting ready to take some things down so I can bring new stuff in. And he said, oh my gosh, this is your work? And I said, yes. And there was another artist there too, but he said, I have to have this. You'll be the showcase of my new gallery pop-up show, if you can do it. And I said, well, when are we talking about? And he said, Valentine's Day. And I thought, gosh, that doesn't give me much time. So I have been over there to photograph the art, which you guys have been seeing pictures that Stephanie took, because I'm getting a brand new art website. And Mandy's helping me do a new website for the Pulpwood Queens. And so we're starting this 2021 year with all these new projects, Writers Club, new websites. And Leo said, well, how soon could you bring me? Let's get this set up. So Monday, I took over part of the things I was going to have, and then realized that I was going to have to get more easels. The space, think New Orleans, because the space is it's got the decadent tin ceilings, the brick walls, it's got the furniture in it is just one of a kind. I can't even describe, but there's not any way on most of the walls to display paintings. So a lot of it's going to have to be tabletop and easels. So I had to go get more easels, and then I'm taking over tomorrow afternoon the rest of the things. He's having events all weekend. The unique thing about this building that's owned by this attorney is its levels. And you go to the very bottom level and you're on a landing and you look down into what looks like a New Orleans speakeasy or something, you know, movie set. And they're going to be having refreshments down there for the event. I was there on Monday and they just had a Super Bowl party. They've got a great big screen TV down there. It's kind of a man cave, but it's just fabulous. So the art will eventually fill all the levels, but I'm in the front windows right now and in the front gallery room. And Sunday for Valentine's Day at 3 p.m. will be our pop-up art show. And joining me will be author Tamara Bolton for the art of story keeping. She's bringing some of her collage art. Stephanie Chance will be there. She's going to have all 3 of her books. And she's the, you know, gallery owner that introduced me. It's just makes sense. I've got to include her. And I have a young man that I went to college with that is one of the most incredible artists I've ever seen. So his name is Eric Rodriguez. He lives in Dallas, and I called him and he's coming down. He does the most meticulous pen and inks you've ever seen in your life. And I am thrilled that we're all going to be there. And there's going to be more artists that are local. They're going to have, but we're going to be the showcase authors in the front. And then they asked me to bring my fashions, and they're going to be providing a model to show all of my kimonos, and it's going to be really cool. So I'm taking over some breathless wine, and I'm going to take over a lot of chocolates. They're going to have a coffee company is going to be providing specialty coffees. They're going to have a bakery providing all these little things. It's a ticketed event, and there'll be lots of pictures, so I'll be posting them soon. Claire, you just came on board, but I've got a gallery showing on Valentine's Day in Tyler, Texas. I met the new owner of a gallery that just came from New York. And he told me that his sister lives in London and has a record store, and they're thinking about maybe doing some things over there. So I'm going, okay, I'm all for it. Get this COVID over with. Where's my vaccine? Let's go on some trips, everybody. So lots of things are happening for the Pulpwood Queens. We're starting with a lot of new initiative programs with the Writers Club on Saturday, with all these other initiatives that we're going to be doing with the authors more showcasing. We're having the fur baby pet parade on Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock. It would be 2 hours earlier in California, an hour later for Wendy and Robert and Mandy. And tell a little bit, since Claire hopped on, about our event page that we're going to be doing.
We're going to start putting like these different Zoom things that we're doing. We're going to start putting them in for Facebook events, so they won't get lost in the Facebook feed.
And we're also going to be, if you want to go to any of the events, we're now going to start requesting that you email us for the Zoom link, because
that'll be part of the event. So when you click on the event, it'll do that. It'll take care of all that.
This is what they're doing at the Pat Conroy Center, because evidently when you put the Zoom link publicly on Facebook, there gets to be some interesting situations of people jumping on board and hacking in and posting weird, strange websites. And in fact, Sherry shared a story of something that happened at a women's conference when I won't go into the detail, but he came on to the camera with a blanket in his lap. And needless to say, the camera, I know, it's not, it wasn't good. And then they couldn't get him, off. So we've decided we want to save everybody from these embarrassing situations. And until Zoom figures out how to, lock that in, we will be doing it this way. So
just make it easier. It'll keep it organized. You can go to the, it'll be easier for everybody to find the events they want to go to instead of having to find them in the Facebook feed.
And the biggest problem is I had so many pages and so many things going on, people didn't know where to go. So the International Pulpwood Queens and Timber Guys Book Club Reading Nation page, I've slowly been, that's where everything gets posted. And then Mandy is getting me super organized. I'm an idea person, and I'm always thinking about the next big thing, and it's the details that really count. So we're going to work a lot on the details to make it a little bit more streamlined, a little bit more easier, but we're going to need some help. We need to get people on the same page, like a girlfriend weekend. I was shocked at how many people came to every panel. So I've got to figure out how to get everybody here that was there, and I can put out a million posts about it, but if they're not on Facebook, if they're not reading their emails, it's hard. It's hard to get the information out to people. I have so many people tell me I don't do social media, but in the light of everything that's happened within the past 2 years, if you're not on social media, the world is going to go by without you. People have to learn the technology. And Mandy and I are more than here to help everybody with, any problems they've had. I just live on YouTube watching instructional videos. Anything you want to know, you can find it on YouTube. So I just hope that if anybody ever has any questions about anything, you'll reach out to either Mandy or me. It's thepulpwoodqueen@gmail.com and mandy.pulpwoodqueen@gmail.com. And it's pretty easy. And both our addresses are now up on the website. And we're trying to get rid of some of the repetition on the website. And we hope to have the new website done this spring. And then I'm getting also a new art website. So I'm pretty pumped about it. And I've got some pretty great photos that Stephanie Chance has been taking. I don't look that good in person, you guys. I'm telling you. If you saw that original post I did on the morning of getting ready for girlfriend weekend with the straight hair, because my hair is stick straight, and no makeup, I'm going to tell you, that's how I usually look. I just quickly go into my magical costume closet and change my clothes for each Zoom meeting by grabbing this and that. As my grandmother said, don't leave the house without your lipstick, put on some eyebrows, little shadow, and off we go. So it's all about creating that, like the cover of a book. You want to create dress for success. I'm dressing for my Parisian beret. Couldn't find my black one, but I thought this is oh so Pulpwood Queen anyway. But a word of warning to any of you that ever go to Paris that think that I'll buy a beret there. Don't, because I was at the Eiffel Tower with my daughter and I thought, I'm buying me a really French beret, and it was they started €100, which I was going, what? I got this one at Cato in the clearance rack for $5. So, I'm a bargain hunter. Okay, I'll live with my little Cato leopard sail beret. It actually has a real little leather band that goes all the way.
It's really cute.
Well, this one's funny to me because when I was a child, my mother was a real fashionista. And my mother never wore anything unless it was designer or, came from Lewin's in Wichita. And my mother had a real leopard beret with a black python band. that I pilfered from her. She had a walk-in closet the length of the upstairs of our house with her outfits and the shoe boxes and purse and gloves and handbags all boxed below the full length of our
Wow.
house. And so I pilfered that and I wore it every day to school with my moss green plaid coat and my purple knee-high socks and see-through go-go boots. And if you think people thought I dressed weird now, when I went into that Kansas rural school with these outfits on, the teachers all found me fascinating, but the students thought I was a weirdo, which I am pretty much that kid with their nose stuck in the book. I'm that I'm always playing dress up. I'm living in my fantasy world. And actually it got me through this COVID. So I'm not going to knock living in this fantasy world of reading all these wonderful books like the Paris Library. And oh my goodness, you guys, this one is just fabulous. Adriana's the Shoemaker's Wife. I'm telling you, I just got a slew of books in from Main Street Reads, and I am so excited about reading all those. But I'm reading The Cicada Tree, which is the manuscript by Robert Gwaltney right now. I'm really excited about it.
I can't wait to read that. I read the first little snip of it, and I can't wait to read it.
When I'm through with it, can I share this with Mandy, my executive director?
Sure.
I will send it. We promise we won't share it with anybody.
That's fine. Share.
I will send it on to Mandy because we just discovered a great little book that we're going to be picking for 2022. This is
that is so good.
Pulpwood Queen author that her first book was Faith Bass Darling's Last Garage Sale. And it prompted me to have a Pulpwood Queen garage sale in the back of my Beauty in the Book one Saturday. And so she came and we did a garage sale book signing. It was the most successful event we ever had. And what happened is we all basically just bought each other's stuff. And I walked away and I swear to God, you guys are not going to believe this. I bought a Korean, and this is how she sold it to me. That's a Korean piss pot. And I go, what is this? It's a brass pot. She goes, with a lid. She said, it's in Korea when we were stationed there in the military. This is what they put under the bed to pee in at night. And I said, oh, I just bought that. She goes, don't worry, it's never been used. I couldn't believe it. It's actually in my bathroom now. It's beautiful. But I bought a ducky, a handmade duck clothespin bag that you hang on the clothesline. Remember those things that the ladies used to and slide down with the clothespins in them? And my daughter now has my clothespin duck in her laundry room. But oh, the things you find when you go to garage sales. So anyway, Linda Rutledge, and this will be added. It's called West with Giraffes. We had all the way to the tigers and now we're west with giraffes. We're kind of on an animal bit, but we're very excited about everything. So now I want to open it up. And if you have any questions, Janet would have had to call in at 3 a.m. to do this event. So I pre-taped the interview with her early this morning. So it's up on the YouTube channel. So as soon as we get done, it's fascinating. You've got to watch it. You will not believe all the stories and the stories she's sharing on Breathless Bubbles and books, but I really want to read. She's sending me her first book that I knew nothing about, and I'm very excited about it. And Sherry's going to add that book to the potential 2022 reading list too, because it's about mail order brides from the Ukraine. I've got to read this book. And she really did her research because she lived there, and was one of the biggest commodities. Was the women were very well educated, gorgeous women, and they became mail order brides for Europeans and Americans. And I think we know a few people who kind of did that in America.
Yeah.
So anyway, I said, I've got to read that book, but it's also up by the time we get off of here. It was premiering. We just did a Zoom meeting with Sherry Stones of Main Street Reads on how to order all of our books from Main Street Reads. And it's the instructions all there. It's basically, you're going to go to our website, click, and there's all our books. If your book is not highlighted, it means she's either out of book plates or you haven't sent book plates.
Yeah.
But it's quite extensive. She's done a lot of work for us, and we want to support our independence. I mean, you can buy it from your local bookstore, or if you don't have one, then go to Main Street Reads. So those are the 2 newest videos up on my YouTube channel.
I'm going there now. Yeah.
Kathy L. Murphy, and click subscribe, you guys. We had more people at Girlfriend Weekend than we have subscribed. And I can tell you that the #1 biggest watch, 213 viewings, were when I announced the 2022 Books of the Year. So starting this week, I'm going to do every month a book talk Zoom that I'm going to post on there of each month's books, so that those people get featured each month and people don't forget what I announced in January, because it's important that we keep the momentum going. And also, if you have any ideas about things that you would like to discuss or talk about or anything, I'm open for suggestions, and the wilder the better. I mean, we're doing this fur baby fluff parade. I just think all these, I live for these things.
Yeah.
Today, I was the first day that I just didn't go, oh, poor, pitiful me, I'm stuck at home. I've been so busy on all these Zooms with everybody. I've had the best day of my life. So the more things we can do, I definitely want to talk to Claire about our discussion that when we last talked. I want to talk about that. And I want to tell everybody that the second most popular panel of Girlfriend Weekend was Jonathan Hote. We're almost up to 100 viewings of him with Holland Perryman.
That was such a good.
It
that
was, and I think you're probably
yeah.
pretty close, Claire, with you and Marley Rusoff. But the more you share those, the
Mhm.
more people that subscribe, the more people are going to be looking for your books. It takes a village to get the social media thing going. Review, watch, share, get other people on board. Breathless Bubbles and Books is really growing, but our own entity is getting kind of sporadically thinned out by all the other bloggers that are on there. That's great. We want them to go to all those, but we want them to keep coming back each week for our online book club meeting. Next week, we're going to be having Mary Dees Hampton. Also, I wanted to tell you too that Bookish Road Trips is going to have an online virtual book club meeting at 6 p.m. And I'm not sure which time zone that is, Wednesday night. We're all trying to coordinate so we don't compete with each other.
Yeah.
And so I want us to support Bookish Road Trips, because she is now interviewing me once a month and going to share all of our authors' books on Bookish Road Trips. That's so generous. And the same thing for Prose in the Pandemic. I don't know if you saw the beautiful post she did this morning for the book launch of the Paris Library and how to order all of our books. But she did another one too, where she featured our February book club selections with how to order the books from Main Street Reads. These are generosities and kindness that the only way you can thank them is by going there and saying thank you.
Yeah.
You know, the more people that do that, the more people she will keep sharing our story. And everybody that tags me, I share everything that you guys are doing. So the tagging is a little bit different now with the new Facebook. It used to be, I would get these little alerts on the right. Now it takes me forever to find out sometimes if you tag me, and then I'll see 43 tags. And then when I click them to my profile, I can't figure out where they go. Can anybody tell me where they go? They
I
just
don't even know how to tag.
Well, tagging, when you do a post at the bottom, there's these little icons. There's a little person icon, if you click on it and type in, say, Claire Fullerton, enter, then when it goes out, it'll tag her.
And what does that mean?
It
But
means
I
that
think if you just mention somebody's name, it tags them and the person gets notified.
only if it gets highlighted.
What do you mean?
When
Well,
you type Claire Fullerton and it gets highlighted, it will tag you, but sometimes it won't highlight.
Well,
Facebook's driving me crazy because, for the last almost a year, I have my Facebook profile and I have a lot of people from Memphis, where I grew up on it, like hundreds, and they don't care about my books. I mean, that's, so I've got my Claire Fullerton author page, and that's where the activity has been going. And I've been trying to build that up because I'm like, look, if you're interested in books and you're following me because, it all fits. And so trying to do that, but Facebook out of nowhere restricted my, Facebook ads ability. This has been going on for a year, that I'll go through this. And if Mandy knows anything, or if anybody knows anything, I'll go through this circular thing. And it says, the reason you're restricted is there hasn't been any activity past some type of quota. And I'm like, that's because I've been restricted. I go into the settings page and it says you're not restricted. I go into my page again, you're restricted. I've written about 4 different places on Facebook saying, there's no point in me having an author page if I can't boost a post, if I can't spend $10 here, because those Facebook ads gets you into the, stratosphere. And that's the whole point in having a Facebook business page. So right now, I'm, if anybody knows anything about Facebook ads, because I've been told repeatedly that you want to sell a book, run a Facebook ad. You want to draw attention to anything, $10 here, $15 there, run it for a week, a Facebook ad. It gets you to Instagram. Huh?
I've never run a Facebook ad.
Man, I got so much traction off of it. It was ridiculous. And they also do it in tandem with Instagram. So I was, every award that, for instance, Little T has won 5 awards, but Morning Dove won something insane like 13. And every single time, because I hate shouting from the rooftops, I'm so fabulous. I hate that. And Mandy and I have laughed about this. I hate, I'm so proud that every time I hear an author, so proud that I think I want to kill myself. And so it's just so funny. And so, but the Facebook ads is perfect because you can boost a post. And so I would do the graphic from All Author, which is free. And so you can put your book and you can overlay on All Author the award itself, or you could overlay on All Author the Pulpwood Queen, the new logo y'all have. You could put it on top of your book, Pulpwood Queen Selection. You put it on your business page, so Claire Fullerton Author is my business page. You want to boost this post? Yes, I want to boost this post. And boom, it goes out to hundreds. But Facebook won't let me do it.
And you haven't been able to talk to anybody with Facebook.
I've written, and just now it's become a sport for me. I'm seeing how obnoxious I can be, how vocal I can be, that I'm going into creative ways of, because now I'm a dog with a bone, out of principle, I'm mad. And so I'm going into, how can you recommend that Facebook better their customer service? And I'm all, y'all want to know? Okay, good. Here we go. So I'm writing strangers and saying,
you know what my pet peeve is with Facebook right now? I get these men that have a picture of them holding a kitten or whatever, and they're following.
All widowed.
Yeah, and so I go to block them, and they say error. You can't block them.
It's just insane, and it's like, Jimmy Joe, whoever in Guadalajara wants to be your friend, and he's like not wearing a shirt, and I'm
or he doesn't even have a picture. They don't have a picture at all. I mean, if somebody doesn't have a picture on Facebook, that's pretty much telling me they got something to hide.
Well, it's crazy, and I've been working MeWe because some, Mandy, Sally Cronin, and some of these girls, a while back, they all got really irritated with Facebook, and they got on MeWe, and so they were all
MeWe?
It's a social network. It's the counter to Facebook, and they don't restrict and they don't censor. And it's capital M-E, capital W-E. And so I've been playing it there, and they give you free, I want to say, let's say the first 90 days, and then they start charging you a month, $1.60. And I'm going to do it for 6-7 months and see what comes of it. But they have a German Shepherd group page. So I'm on there posting my puppies. I'm on there posting my dogs. Why? Because I want them to look into me. You know, who is this? Oh, I like to read. I am working LinkedIn like nobody's business.
Me
I have
too.
more people on
I'm
LinkedIn
not.
following me. It's ridiculous. And so, you know, I'm thinking with Facebook, what I've realized, Kathy, is, and it's why I'm at the point now, you know, now that I'm 9 months on the other side of Little T being released, that you know, a lot of the Memphis friends, you know, a lot of the people that I'm friends with aren't following me because of books. And so I'm trying to not overload, because they don't know what I'm talking about and they start checking out. And I don't want that. So I'm trying to keep it, you know, Claire Fullerton author page where I can do Pulpwood Queens and I can do all this stuff. And so I'm experimenting with it now, but I just have to figure out what human being has the answer towards, why am I restricted from placing an ad on Facebook? Because, you know, Neville Johnson, who's the entertainment attorney I told you about that represents Sybil and on, he also has a book publishing called Cool Records, Cool whatever. Anyway, and he's putting out whatever he's doing because there's nothing this guy doesn't do. And he said that the Facebook ads, and he might spend $100 here and $100 there. And he said thousands. It goes up to thousands, and he's right. And so, you know, we should all be placing Facebook's ads, and it worked for me until they restricted me. I got a feeling it might be because they charged on you have to set up an automatic payment thing for when you boost a post. Okay, kind of like pay through PayPal, but there was some suspicious charge. And so I stopped that payment automatic thing. And ever since then, they haven't been talking to me. So I reinstated the thing, and it still hasn't righted itself. And I'm like, what? Who? You can't call anybody, you know? So I'm still going through a loop. So if anybody out there knows anybody about Facebook ads, send them my way. Because I mean,
This is why we want to start an authors group page just for authors and this kind of thing, because
Yeah, this is perfect for that.
it's making me crazy.
Perfect for that. And we'll talk about that next week. But I agree, because I hit glitches and I go, well, you know, Robert just sent me a picture of, and it says tag me, and it says click to put it on your profile, and I don't know where it went. And so finally what I did was I downloaded the picture and labeled it, and then I put it up because then I could see it. But
there you go.
Or like on Breathless Bubbles and Books, they go, you made a mistake, you can put my post up twice. And I go, no, I did not. I put it up one time, but if you make it an announcement, it posts it twice. So I took one of them off and the whole thing went away.
You know, it's just so frustrating. But yeah, look into MeWe for no reason, because they have a lot of book people there. And I am like, and I told Robert and I laughed that I act like he's my protege because I love him. And I read The Cicada Tree, and oh my God, I loved it. And
I'm reading it now.
Well, you know, I mean, it's kind of like Southern Gothic surrealism. And I had a feeling about this guy. And so, and I was right. And I just want to go, you know, I was right about Robert. so we've been talking back and forth, but I wanted
group right here.
Yeah, I mean, he fits in well.
Talk about Southern Gothic. This is kind of our vibe tonight. But but yeah, don't miss this writers group on Saturday, because it's going to be.
What time is it, Kathy? The writers group.
It's going to be at 10 o'clock, but for you that'd be 8.
Yeah, of course it's 8. And it's on Breathless.
No, we're going to do a Zoom meeting.
Oh.
So at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And it's going to be 11 o'clock in Atlanta and Florida, but unfortunately, man.
I know, it's California. How long is it going to last?
Robert?
I pro-
Howard?
I'm th- yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, Kathy, you're going to be interviewing us. I was thinking, my three group members probably it would be about an hour.
Okay,
I usually make it for an hour and a half, just in case we run over a little bit.
just for that window, yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
but because I want to keep that window, but I really, when we get into a vibe, I don't want to
Yeah,
lose it.
sure.
You know what I'm saying? And I
Yeah.
record everything, Claire. I'm recording everything. So it'll be up on my YouTube channel so you can watch it later. And believe it or not, more people watch them later than they do when they're live.
Well, that's what Annie says with the right review is that nobody's ever there, while it's going on, but boy, she gets those hits throughout the next few days. And I think that's to be expected. And so that's the beauty. Are you on LinkedIn talking about your YouTube channel? Because people love
I
YouTube
put
channels.
every single one
Good.
of them up there.
Good.
And I have so many friends on there. In fact, I just reconnected with one of my author friends in California and found out he's like some kind of, he was a lawyer, but he's now some kind of attorney general. Oh my God,
What?
Daniel, you've come a long way. And he's a playwright and all this stuff. And I reconnected with him. But what I like about LinkedIn is it's publishers. It's a very professional,
Yeah, it is.
like-minded thing. Of course,
Yeah.
I get a lot of people wanting me to, support their pampered chef parties and I would love to do all those things, you guys, but it's hard. I had 4 Zooms today. It's really hard, but I'm getting zoomed down and sort of. I mean, I have glitches, but by the time Girlfriend Weekend rolls around next year, we should have it. And I just want you all to be prepared. It's going to be a week, but we're going to have big breaks. So
I think it's going to be wonderful. I think
It's
a week
gonna be-
I think it's perfect.
Well, I've got more people wanting on board from around the world. When I talked to Janet in Paris, we're now looking into maybe having their book club that meets at the Paris Library do a once a month meeting with our book club and having an international,
Wow.
what are you reading? What are you reading? And she'll act as the interpreter if some people can't speak English and some of us, our French is not up to par, je ne sais quoi, whatever.
Yeah.
But but it will be fascinating to me because it'll be the first time we'll have an international connection with another book club. But there's nothing that any of you that are writing that somebody in France wouldn't want to read.
True.
You know,
I hear the French love this, the Southern stories.
yes, they do. I had an author that came from France that, oh my gosh, let me think of her name. She was something, she didn't know what to think. She came to the live one. And at first she was like, she stayed at the Excelsior Hotel and walked to the convention center. And she was, by the end of the weekend, she was dancing harder than anybody you've ever seen on the dance floor at the Hairball. And she wrote for a magazine very much like Cosmopolitan in France for years and years and years. And then she wrote this book about crocodile. Oh, it's been many years ago, Tears. But she said, oh, she goes, I got to get another book out so I come back. But I would love it. But other thing that Janet said, that if we took a Pulpwood Queen trip to France and Italy years ago, and she said, if you come back, we could have a live event at the library. I'm thinking, how cool would that be?
Yeah.
And she also, in this video, she tells about a couple of places that would be very interesting if you want a little off the beaten path, which is so me. I mean, I love Paris and everything, but my favorite time there was in this little village that was having an open air market, and they were selling everywhere from clothes to octopus, it was just real, the coolest thing ever. And we had a wonderful time in that little small village. Nobody spoke any English. And I spent a good hour just walking through their grocery store, just reading the labels off of, trying to figure out what things were. It was fascinating.
Yeah.
But
they have the best cafes and the best coffees and the best gelato. I mean, it's just awesome.
everything is, we ate along a river. The chef prepared us this meal and we ate out on this grass under these tables. And I remember we had steak tartare, which is raw steak, okay? And was one of the courses. And the river was running by, and on the other side was a bride and her groom having wedding photos. It's kind of one of those moments that you just gets etched into your mind about the beauty of the place. And he just kept coming out and bringing these dishes. And I think my daughter, who's 13, ate all 4 of the steak tartare. She loved it. And I, you know, me, I'm not a meat eater. So she was just like chomping it down. I go, I hope it's okay. I mean, it's raw because it's delicious. It's delicious. My kids have very international palates. So, but anyway, I would love to go back. And when we were in Paris, we did the Eiffel Tower because it was the 50th anniversary, not the 50th. It was the anniversary of D-Day. And I remember when we went to the Eiffel Tower, they had all the military with the machine guns.
Yeah.
I felt like I was on a movie set. And I mean, these guys looked serious. And we got a couple of gypsies behind us, I think, that were pickpockets. And, you know, I shook all the way to the top. But when you look out at a city that goes on as far as the eye can see in every direction, you know, I didn't even get to the Louvre or didn't, you know, there's so much to do. Yeah, I'd love to go back with the Pulpwood Queens. It's a lot of fun. We have, Stephanie wants to take the Pulpwood Queens on a trip. And I said,
to Italy.
We're gonna see if we can get all the authors to go, and we're gonna do an international book signing. We're gonna get it set up in Italy for sure. So,
well, Ireland would love you.
Yes.
Yes.
I would like to go to Hay on Wye, Wales. Do you guys know where that is?
No.
They have, the town is all bookstores, one right after the other, stalls and stalls and stalls and stalls. And I set up a trip to go. We were going to do a book and chocolate tour, book, wine, and chocolate tour. We were aboarding the Queen Mary 2 in New York. We were going to travel on the world's biggest ship that has the biggest floating library. We were going to go first to England and get in the vans to travel to Hay on Wye, Wales. We were staying at the Baskerville Hotel, and they have everything you can possibly imagine. But we'd always have our dinner there. But during the day, we'd be going to this town that is just entirely bookstores. And
Wow.
the whole trip was $2,500. And I couldn't get enough people to go. $2,500. You can't even hardly get plane fares sometimes now. And that we were going to be gone 10 days. 10 days. But a lot of it was the traveling over and the traveling back. But the thing about the trips that I do is once you get on board, everything's taken care of. You know, that's why, you know, we taken Royal Caribbean cruises. Once you're on the ship, everything's taken care of. You know, you just all dine together for dinner, and we did book signings every night before dinner, had author talks throughout the cruise, got to have cocktail party with the captain. You know, when I may live in a little cabin in the woods, but when I go on vacation, I want to go first class. I don't, that's why vacation. And Stephanie does it right. So we're going to be working on that. But if you guys have any ideas of things, I want to encourage everybody to think about their book and how you can make that into a literary destination. You know, my favorite places to go was the Eudora Welty House, you know, in Jackson, Mississippi, or to walk the walks of Tennessee Williams in New Orleans, you know. Those are the type of things that are, I love the Tennessee Williams. I'd love to take all of you to the Tennessee Williams Literary Festival. It's online
really,
this year.
seriously. That'd be great. It's canceled this year?
It's online. You can do it.
When is it?
It's always usually in the spring, but
around my birthday, I think April-ish. I think
April,
around
yeah.
April, yeah.
And I've been featured at it I was the opening speaker and the closing speaker one year, and I was featured another time, but it's the best. And they've now combined the William Faulkner Saints and Sinners with the, and they have the Stella yelling contest, and that's insane to see.
I bet it is.
But you run into people that you don't expect to see at a book festival, because they also bring in a lot of Broadway stars. And the last time I went, Tawana and I went and saw the creator of Crybaby and Hairspray. Oh my
John
God.
Waters?
Yes. We went and heard him, and he's hysterical. And then, you know, Carol Baker was featured there one year, who starred in the Tennessee Williams, you know, iconic Baby Doll production. She looks fabulous, by the way. But they have a lot of Broadway stars, and you'll get on the elevator and you go, oh my God, you know, and I elbow Tawana, and she go, I know. And we couldn't think of the names, because these are people that have been in every old movie we've ever seen, you know,
Yeah.
and you go, they're still alive, and they look great. I met the guy who played the lion on The Wizard of Oz. His son was a speaker one year at, he is the clone of his father.
Burt Lahr? Is that his
Yes.
name? Burt Lahr?
He looks just like his dad. It was very eerie, and he was lovely. And you just never know who you're going to meet. And then we go to all the plays, and they just have a really eclectic theater, arts, music, lots of drinking, cocktails. It's a fun thing, and everybody dresses up, and it's very decadent and in funky little places and theaters. So I highly recommend the Tennessee, especially Robert. You have not been?
I have not been, but I have a friend who's a professor here, and he's we actually were gonna pack up and we were gonna go this past year, but the pandemic hit,
I know
of
a great
course, and
condo that's right across from the iconic gay bookstore, and it's walking distance. It's really cool. We always stay in the same place, but Tawana always kept that information. So I'll have to get a hold of her husband to find out what the name of that condo was. But
and there is the little place where, you know, you can the place where Tennessee Williams actually wrote, you know, when he was there in
Pirates Alley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you want to stay in a hotel, you want to stay at the Hotel Monteleone, because it has the carousel bar. And
Yeah.
it's Jim Grimsley wrote a story about me. He was speaking one year. I love him. He's an Algonquin author. And I didn't even see him at first, but I went walking in with my entourage, and he wrote a story about it, and it ran in some magazine. He said, I just witnessed something that I've never seen before in my life. And it was me and Margie and Tawana and my daughter all walking into the hotel. He said, I don't know who these people are, but they're famous. And I go, no. And then when I went up, he said, when I spoke at the thing, they all sat on the front row. And the minute it was over, the head one comes up to me and says, Jim, you don't remember me, but I used to rep for Algonquin out of Chapel Hill. I know you. He goes, oh my God. He didn't recognize me, because, you know, I changed like a chameleon. But he came to Girlfriend Weekend that year, and so did Molly Crabapple. And if you don't know who Molly Crabapple is, she is an artist in New York that's a political cartoonist, and she's very out there. Google her. She came to Girlfriend Weekend, and she wrote a memoir about how her art, you know how I always say books saved me? Well, art saved her. And anyway, I had a nurse during Girlfriend Weekend goes, honey, she raised her hand and she goes, you've got blood in the title of your book. Are you in the nursing profession? She goes, no, ma'am, I'm an artist, you know. And she looks like a burlesque star, you know. She's got a very stylized, iconic, retro kind of look. And but anyway, both Jim and Molly came to that event. But I meet the best authors down there, so it's a lot of fun, and I love going to New Orleans. That's one of my favorite. It's the story playing out in front of you. My favorite story, and I'll end with this, is there's a antique store there called M.F. Rouse, and it's on Royal Street, and it's probably one of the most prestigious antique stores in the world.
How do you spell the MF what?
R-A-U, I believe, R-A-U. And it's on Royal Street, and my good friend, her brother-in-law is one of the, I guess, antique store curators, but they have a hidden room in the back, and you go into it. It's where they have all their Matisses and their Impressionists and their 24 karat gold, Asian ships, and just the most amazing things you've ever seen in your life. But we were staying at their place on St. Anne, and we stayed in the slave quarters of this courtyard, and then her brother-in-law lives in the street, and I was up on his balcony and petting his cat, and he'd given me some coffee. It's like 7 a.m. in the morning, and I'm waiting for everybody else to get up, and I always get up early, and I'm drinking coffee, petting this cat, and there's a gay bar on the corner that has a giant disco ball, and I saw this young man come out of, it's like 7 o'clock in the morning, and he's got a beer, tray, cardboard, what beer comes in, and he's just got drinks, all these mixed drinks in this thing, and he's carrying it, and doesn't have on a shirt, and he has on khaki pants, no shoes, and a cigarette in his mouth, and he's walking across the street with that tray, and he gets tired. And so he sits the tray down on a stoop and just sits there and smokes that cigarette, because I guess he was exhausted. I don't know. And I'm just watching him, and I'm thinking those drinks are melting. I mean, I don't know how many you can get in a beer container, but plastic cups with mixed drinks. He puts the cigarette out, he picks up the tray, and he walks down the street about 3 doors. 3 doors is all. He kind of puts it on his hip and opens the door and kicks it in and disappears. And I thought, what is the story about what was happening there? I mean, I could just play in my mind, just, oh my, the party's still going on. It's 7 in the morning, and they send this young boy down to get drinks. And why is this bar open at 7 in the morning? It's crazy. That's what I love about New Orleans.
Together, always.
Always. You never know what you're going to see. So
Their website.
Anybody want to share anything before we go tonight?
Well, so Kathy, once we stop recording, I want you ladies to stay on. I want to show you something.
Okay.
I know what it is.
Yeah, I'm going to show you. You will be the first 4 to see a sneak preview of a rough cut of the book trailer.
Oh, cool. Let's see it.
Sorry, everybody. Bye.
Bye. Well, we just stay on, Robert?
Stay on.
Yeah, just stay on.
We're gonna end it. This will be up on the Kathy L. Murphy YouTube channel, and you'll just have to wait for later for Robert. So I'm pumped. Bye, everybody. Stay online.